The night split open with a cry. "Please, take me away!" The words weren't shouted, but they cut sharp through the stillness, carried on a trembling voice just outside the rancher's door. Caleb Rawlins froze mid-step, the handle of his lantern slick in his palm. He hadn't heard a rider, no wagon wheels, no warning, just that voice, raw, desperate, half-choked, floating against the hum of cicadas. He lifted the lantern higher, its glow pushing out against the porch. The yard beyond lay in silence, only the cottonwoods shifting in the breeze. Then, movement. A figure sagged against his hitching post, one arm clutched tight around her ribs, hair tangled, dress caked with dust and blood. She looked no older than 20. Caleb's chest tightened. 100 questions swarmed at once. Who was she? What troubles had followed her? And why his ranch, of all places? Her eyes locked on his. They weren't pleading so much as demanding, as if she had gambled everything on this one doorstep. "Please," she rasped again, "don't let them take me back." The lantern flame guttered. Caleb hadn't had a stranger on his land since the war ended, and he had built his days on silence, feeding cattle, fixing fences, never letting the world draw him in again. He had sworn off causes, off fights that weren't his. But now, standing before him, was cause enough. The girl swayed, knees buckling. Caleb lunged forward, catching her before she struck the ground. Her weight hit him hard, frail, trembling, yet carrying some hidden strength in the way she gripped his shirt with clawed fingers, refusing to let go. "Who's after you?" Caleb asked low, though part of him wasn't sure he wanted the answer. Her lips formed a single word, whispered so faint it could have been the wind. "Kin." Caleb's stomach knotted. Family trouble was the kind that bled deep, the kind that never stayed outside a man's fence line. He glanced to Ward, the dark stretch of prairie, the road snaking away into the night. The horizon seemed to breathe, waiting. The girl slumped against him fully now, her breath shallow, her body shaking with cold and terror. He could feel her heart hammering against his chest. Somewhere out there, someone was looking for her, and if they came riding to his door, they wouldn't knock. From the stillness of the yard, a sound broke, the sharp crack of a twig under boot, and Caleb knew they weren't far behind. Caleb eased the girl inside, lantern light spilling across the wooden floorboards. He shut the door quick, sliding the bolt, but the sound outside still throbbed in his ears, that crunch of a boot. She collapsed into his chair by the hearth, clutching her side. When the light caught at her properly, Caleb saw the bruise blooming across her cheek, the torn seams of her dress, the raw rope marks circling her wrists. Not the kind of wounds the land gave. These came from people. Her gaze flicked to him, sharp with fear. "Don't send me back." Caleb swallowed hard. "Who's after you? Your kin?" Her jaw trembled. She pressed her lips tight, saying nothing. Caleb had learned long ago that silence sometimes said more than words. He remembered his own father's fists, the nights he and his brother had hidden in the barn until dawn. He remembered the war, too, the way men swore loyalty to blood and flag, only to tear each other apart. Family could be the cruelest tie. But still, helping her meant stepping into a storm. Through the wall, Caleb caught it again, the faint shuffle of someone moving outside. One man, maybe two. He reached instinctively for the Winchester propped by the door, his thumb brushing the worn stock. His pulse hammered with the old familiar rhythm of decision. Fight or let it pass by. The girl's voice broke the silence. "If they find me here, they'll kill you too." It wasn't a threat. It was a warning, soft and broken. Caleb studied her, lantern glow cutting shadows across her face. He could send her back out the door, close it, let the night swallow her, let fate finish what it had started. That would keep his ranch untouched, his solitude unbroken. Or he could hide her, feed her, defy whoever rode with the night to claim her. That would bring heat, maybe blood, to his doorstep. The boards outside creaked again, this time closer, right by the window. Caleb's breath caught. A shadow flickered across the curtain, then stilled. Whoever was out there was listening. He moved slow, raising a finger to his lips for the girl. She nodded, holding her breath. The silence thickened. Then, knuckles rapped against the wood, slow, deliberate, like the man outside already knew someone was awake. A voice followed, low and steady. "Evening, Rawlins. You got something of mine in there? Something of yours?" Caleb's voice was flat, careful. The man outside chuckled, low and knowing. "Ain't no use playing dumb. She run off. Belongs back where she came from. You know it, Rollins. Now, open the door. The girl stiffened in the chair, clutching the armrest like it might keep her from shaking apart. Her lips formed one word, soundless. No. Caleb set the lantern down, its flame twitching. His rifle rested against his leg now, hidden from the window. He didn't answer. Silence stretched, tense as wire. Boot steps scuffed the porch. Another voice spoke, rougher, impatient. Quit jawing with him. We'll drag her out. Caleb's grip tightened on the Winchester. He'd seen this play before. Men who claimed ownership like it was a right. Men who didn't ask, only took. The war had filled graves with their kind. You hear me, Rollins? The first man called again. She ain't yours. She's kin. Blood calls blood. Don't make us climb through that window. Inside, the girl whispered, They'll say I'm theirs. But they ain't. Not anymore. Her eyes glistened in the firelight. Please, don't let them. The words cut him deep. Caleb's own brother had begged something near the same once. Bleeding out on a battlefield Caleb hadn't wanted to remember. He'd failed then. He wasn't sure he could stand to fail again. The porch groaned under shifting weight. A boot scraped against the doorframe. Then, bang, a fist slammed the wood. The girl flinched, biting back a cry. Caleb stood, rifle in hand, his shadow stretching across the wall. This is my land, he said, his voice low, steady as a drawn blade. Ain't no one comes through that door without my say-so. The men outside muttered. One spat. The first voice tried calm again, but there was a hitch to it now. Think careful, Rollins. Ain't worth dying for some runaway girl. Step aside, and no harm will come to you. The girl shook her head violently, tears streaking through the dirt on her cheeks. Caleb's heart pounded like hooves. He knew what came next, the scrape of iron, the surge of violence that never asked permission. He braced, rifle raised, but then silence. Long, heavy silence. The kind that felt worse than shouting. From the darkness came a sound more chilling than words. The click of a revolver hammer drawn back. The click hung in the night air like a snake's rattle. Caleb's finger hovered near the trigger, his breath locked tight in his chest. But then, nothing. No shot, no shattering glass, just silence, thick and watchful. The men were waiting, testing his nerve. Caleb lowered the rifle barrel just enough to glance at the girl. She was hunched small in his chair, arms wrapped around herself, lips trembling but pressed shut as if she feared even her breathing might give them away. The lantern painted her fur, ace in flickering strokes, fear, exhaustion, and something else. A raw hunger for someone, anyone, to stand with her. Eliza's breath shuddered. She clutched the blanket tighter, eyes darting toward the door as if expecting them to storm back in. They'll come again, she whispered. Maybe, Caleb admitted. He crossed the room, kneeling in front of her once more. His hand hovered, then rested lightly on hers. But not tonight. Tonight, you rest. You're not theirs anymore. Tears slipped free, but she didn't hide them this time. She held his gaze, and for a long, silent moment, something passed between them. Two souls scarred by family, by war, by loss, finding a fragile tether in each other. The fire popped, throwing sparks. Eliza leaned back, exhaustion finally claiming her. Caleb rose, set the rifle within reach, and took the chair opposite, eyes fixed on the dark beyond the window. He knew tomorrow might bring riders, questions, even blood. But for now, the house was still. And in that stillness, a choice had been made. Years later, Eliza would remember that night. Not the fear, not the men outside, but the sight of a rancher silhouetted against lamplight, rifle across his knees, keeping watch while she slept for the first time without chains. A lantern burning low in the window, holding back the dark. Caleb set the rifle down for a moment, crouching to her level. His voice was barely above a whisper. What's your name? Her eyes darted to him, suspicious at first. Then, softer. Eliza. The name felt fragile in the space between them, as though speaking it aloud might shatter her. Caleb nodded once. Eliza, you're safe here? You hear me? She tried to believe it. He could see that much. Tears swelled, spilling quietly. She wiped them away with a rough edge of her sleeve, ashamed of them. Caleb reached into the cupboard, pulled a wool blanket, and draped it across her shoulders. Her body eased just a fraction, as though she hadn't felt warmth in weeks. Outside, boots shifted again. A man muttering low. Caleb ignored it. He struck a match, lit the stove, set water to heat. The small ritual steadied him as much as her. Eliza's gaze followed his every move, wide and wary, like a stray that hadn't yet decided if the offered hand was a trap. "You ever ride cattle trails?" he asked, keeping his voice calm, ordinary, as though men with guns weren't at his porch. She shook her head. "Never been past the county line. They never let me." "They?" Her throat worked. She glanced toward the door. "My uncle, my brothers, said I was theirs to keep, said I didn't belong to nobody else." Her voice cracked on the last word. Caleb's jaw tightened. He poured hot water into a tin cup, dropped in a pinch of dried herbs. He set it in her hands, his calloused fingers brushing hers. She flinched at first, then stilled. "Drink," he murmured. "You'll need your strength." Her lips pressed to the rim, steam curling against her face. For the first time since she arrived, her shoulders loosened, if only slightly. Then, from the porch came a whisper, carried cruel and sharp through the boards. "We'll burn him out if we have to." The threat hung like smoke. Burn him out. Caleb's stomach clenched. He had seen flames tear through homesteads in the war, men screaming, horses thrashing, whole lives devoured in minutes. He moved to the window, rifle steady in his hands. "You so much as strike a match," he called, voice ringing clear, "and you'll answer for it." A long pause followed. Then the first man spoke, mocking. "You can't hold us off forever, Rollins. She's blood. She's coming back." Eliza's voice broke behind him. "I won't. I can't." Her words carried such raw truth that Caleb felt them settle into his bones. He turned, met her eyes. "Then you won't." Something in her face shifted, shock, then disbelief, then the faintest flicker of hope. Outside, hooves shuffled. One of the men spat again. "Last chance, Rollins. Step aside." Caleb chambered around, the click echoing sharp through the room. He didn't shout, didn't rage, just spoke steady, the way a man does when he's chosen his ground. "I buried too many in that war for causes I didn't believe in. This one, I do. You want her, you'll ride through me." The silence that followed stretched into eternity. Then, a laugh, harsh and brittle, hooves scuffed against dirt, a saddle creaked. One voice hissed, "Leave it. Ain't worth it." The porch boards groaned. Then, slowly, the footsteps retreated. The night swallowed them, their curses, their spurs, the distant thunder of hooves fading toward the horizon. Caleb didn't move until the last echo died. Only then did he lower the rifle, shoulders sagging under the weight of what had almost come,